The tension surrounding Jake Paul's next move in the boxing world has reached a boiling point, and for good reason. With whispers turning into headlines and headlines turning into heated debates, the idea of Jake Paul stepping into the ring with Anthony Joshua has transformed from a rumor into a looming spectacle that has the entire combat sports world gripping the edges of their seats. What began as casual callouts and promotional chatter has rapidly evolved into something far more serious, carrying consequences that stretch far beyond pay-per-view numbers or Netflix ratings. For Jake Paul, this is being described as the most reckless decision of his career, a decision that could redefine his entire boxing identity in one single night. For Joshua, it poses a complicated crossroad between massive financial gain and the perception of risking his reputation against a fighter who, despite his fame, is still viewed by the traditional boxing community as an outsider testing waters far too deep. The voices within the sport are anything but quiet. Eddie Hearn, known for his clarity and blunt assessments, has made it clear that this matchup is the kind of catastrophic mismatch that could end Paul's run in the sport entirely. As the talks progress, Hearn sees a scenario so lopsided, so physically dangerous, that it pushes beyond the territory of entertainment and enters the realm of genuine risk. Joshua is not a novelty opponent, not a fading legend, not a retired fighter making a brief return for nostalgia's sake. He is a two-time unified world heavyweight champion with frightening knockout power, heavyweight experience, and a track record of turning world-class athletes into highlight reels. The idea of Jake Paul absorbing that level of impact from someone of Joshua's size and pedigree has left many inside the sport deeply uneasy, even as the commercial momentum behind the fight continues to grow. Despite the concerns, negotiations are unfolding quickly. With the cancellation of Paul's anticipated bout with Gervonta Davis, the schedule has opened in a way that accelerates possibilities. Miami in December has become the tentative setting, a prime location for a global streaming event that Netflix would undoubtedly push to the forefront of its programming. But even as fans await confirmation, insiders acknowledge that this matchup was never supposed to happen this soon. Jake Paul jumping directly from a lightweight callout to one of the most dangerous heavyweights of the last decade feels like a leap between planets. No one denies Paul's work ethic, his sparring commitment, or his steady improvement as a boxer, yet there is a chasm between steady improvement and stepping into the path of a fighter who dismantled Francis Ngannou with frightening force just months after Ngannou nearly upset the heavyweight king himself, Tyson Fury. For Joshua's camp, the decision carries its own complications. While the financial incentive is undeniable, there is an ongoing effort to rebuild Joshua toward another world title run. Facing Tyson Fury remains a long-term target, as does reclaiming a belt that slipped from his grasp. Taking a fight with Jake Paul would not move him closer to those goals. It would instead serve as a detour into spectacle, a lucrative payday that risks overshadowing the narrative his team has been carefully reconstructing. Yet even Hearn admits the truth few promoters can ignore. Prizefighting is a business, and business often demands choices that logic would never make. As the discussions intensify, so do the warnings. Analysts and commentators have repeatedly emphasized that this fight, if sanctioned as professional, carries real danger for Paul. The size discrepancy alone is staggering. Joshua towers over most heavyweight opponents, and his punches have folded elite fighters with decades of experience. Paul, despite his strength and conditioning, remains a cruiserweight in reality, walking into a world where speed, power, and technical experience collide with devastating results. The concern is not simply that Paul would lose, but that he could get hurt in ways that transform his career and perhaps even the future of these crossover events he has helped popularize. Other fighters have weighed in with their own perspectives. Derek Chisora has dismissed the idea of Paul earning a ranking from such a fight, calling it an insult to the thousands of fighters who struggle year after year to climb the ladder legitimately. Roy Jones Jr. takes a more measured stance, acknowledging the spectacle but reminding everyone of what Joshua's power is capable of. If Joshua could flatten Ngannou with such ease, the result against Paul becomes nearly inevitable. Leon Edwards sees the matchup as so lopsided that anything other than a first-round knockout would raise suspicion. These are not armchair analysts. These are fighters who understand the reality of what happens when mismatches occur in a sport where a single punch can change everything. Yet not everyone shares the pessimistic view. Tyson Fury, with his characteristic unpredictability, has gone as far as predicting that Paul could knock Joshua out. Fury highlights Paul's transformation into a heavier, bulkier version of himself, pointing to his confidence and willingness to fight anyone from featherweights to heavyweights. Whether this is genuine belief, mind games, or an attempt to stir controversy is anyone's guess, but his words have added fuel to an already blazing discussion. Adding to the complexity is the ongoing debate over Jake Paul's legitimacy in boxing. Critics insist that he targets aging legends or non-boxers. Supporters counter that he has pushed for fights with active fighters like Tommy Fury, even if outcomes did not go his way. His ambition to revive the sport, to draw fresh audiences and inject youthful energy, continues to be a core theme in his narrative. Paul sees himself as a disruptor, someone rewriting the rules of boxing promotion. Whether fans embrace or reject him, he commands attention in a way few modern fighters can. This leads the public to the question at the heart of the controversy. Is Jake Paul reckless, delusional, courageous, or simply a master promoter playing the game better than the old guard ever imagined? Is Anthony Joshua risking legacy, or is he merely cashing in while the opportunity is hot? At its core, the conversation reflects a deeper truth. Boxing is evolving, for better or worse, and the line between spectacle and sport grows thinner with each passing year. As these negotiations continue, the world watches with anticipation, excitement, doubt, and fear for what such a match could unleash. If it happens, it won't just be another fight. It will be the collision of two worlds, two narratives, and two vastly different legacies converging under the bright lights of a global stage. If this fight becomes reality, it will divide fans, ignite debate, and force everyone to confront what boxing has become and where it is heading. Now the question becomes, is Jake Paul biting off more than he can chew, or is this the moment that reshapes everything we think we know about modern boxing? What do you think will truly happen if Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua meet in the ring? Is this the biggest mistake of Jake Paul's life or the spectacle boxing needs right now? Share your thoughts below, and if you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss the next breakdown.